fingers down my spine. Girl, you look mighty fine. Won't you rub your fingers down my spine? Girl, you look mighty fine. Won't you rub your fingers down my spine? Girl, you look mighty fine.
We are back for another podcast. This brings us to episode 4. I think that's a pretty big deal. I didn't know how long this was going to last, and it went pretty well so far, so we're going to continue the streak, I guess you could say. Really quickly, before we do anything, I do need to talk about, I've been previously uploading this podcast on the Soundcloud, and I've been looking into another app called Podbean. Now, the problem is both those places want to charge me, and I don't really know what I'm doing with that yet. I think I'll pick one eventually, and then I'll get the subscription to that. But for now, we're on good old YouTube. So you can just come right on here and listen to this whenever you feel ready. Quick shout out, before we do anything else, to my boy, the Hippie Hideout, Brandon Davis. Go check out his shop, guys. It's etsy.com/shop/the Hippie Hideout. The guy makes amazing tees, and now the jewelry that he's making is just a step higher. He's only going up. So today's podcast, the reason I'm doing a quick intro is because I know this might last a little while, is we have another guest on this show, and it's one I've been wanting for a very long time, and it's my boy Adam Firlotte, who is on the line with us right now. So what's going on, Adam?
Oh, not much, man. I'm sitting here drinking a glass of wine, ready for my little interview.
Your little wine boy, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to the Guinness?
Nothing but the best.
What happened to the Guinness?
I'll tell you what happened with the Guinness. I realized it tastes more like water. It's not strong enough, so I switched to different stouts. Something with a little bit more flavor.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, cool. I just wanted to... I made a promise to people in the last podcast, which was my Ask Me Anything, that I was going to call you an asshole, because I said I was going to read every question, and I did, and your question made things very awkward for me at the end. So that was great.
Yeah, well, I'm still a little bit upset that you didn't answer my question because...
Oh, so you do listen to the podcast.
Well, I was led to believe that
I didn't think you listened to it.
Question.
You know what? I didn't think you were going to listen to it, and that's why I didn't give a shit. But that's pretty impressive. I'll give you props. I fucked up on this one, bro. Yeah, so for those, just to give a little background, same way, we were talking to Joe in episode 2. And literally, Joe, Adam, and I, to be politically, grammarly correct or whatever, were friends pretty much at the exact same time. Joe and Adam had been friends before that, and then I came in, moved in, and that's when I became friends with both of them. So it's been a long time. How long is that? Because I couldn't think of an exact number with Joe. Like, how long has it been since we've been in grade 3?
Oh, jeez. I think I've lived in New Brunswick for like 12 or 13 years now, so it would have been probably 12 or 13 years.
Oh my god. When you're friends with someone for 13 years, it's kind of... It says a lot right there. It says that you don't know how to make friends, is what it says. So, anyways, we're going to get to... I want to get right into a story with you because it's the best way to kind of show what our friendship, I guess, is. And I want to talk about the SEPs. Remember the SEPs pool, the diving boards?
Do I ever remember?
Oh, people, it would be like, I don't know, a random day of the week during the school year in the summer, whenever, and we would just decide to go to this, basically, what is it, a university?
Yeah, it's like a French university, I guess. It's like their aquatic/athletic center, yeah?
Yeah, okay. Well, basically they had this big pool, and you can go, I think it was like an hour and a half or so for free swim, or an hour, whatever the hell it was. So they had 3 diving boards. They had, I think they had 2 small ones. They had a middle dive, and they had the high dive. And I think what's that?
The Big Papa.
Yeah, the Big Papa. That one scared the shit out of me. It was very rare. I did it, but it was very rare that I went on that son of a bitch. But I think each diving board in particular has its own story that I could go on for hours about. But I want to talk. There's one that I wanted to bring up to you, see if you remembered it. I called it in my book here. I called it Kyle's fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember. You remember Benoit, right?
Yeah. We called him Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi, the diving expert, eh? Oh my god.
Yeah.
This guy was do you know how old he was around?
Holy crap. He's at least in his 70s.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and he still goes on diving boards, front flips, even if he lands flat on his back.
That's what I was gonna say in a couple seconds. I literally was about to bring that story up, and this one scared the shit out of I think both of us because we were sitting in the we were doing basically playing horse on diving boards, trying to do front flip. If you did a front flip, blah blah blah, and we were doing. And he was there almost every single time we were there, and he would never obviously join in. He's fucking 70 years old, and then I don't know who challenged him to do a front flip in the first place. But he said okay, because I guarantee you in his diving days, he probably fucking could do it.
I think, honestly, I think he was so game that he brought the challenge on himself. He's like, I'm going to show these guys what a front flip is.
Oh my god. And then he doesn't get nearly enough air. Because he did his he had his little very specific, it was like 1, 2, 3, and then he would fucking go. And he did his 1, 2, 3, and he didn't get nearly enough extension because the guy landed.
Well, honestly, if I remember it correctly, it was almost as if time slowed down.
Yeah.
Like, not only did he flip too slow, but he flipped so slow that, like, it's almost like I could almost hear, like, sad music playing in the background.
Oh, shit. Yep. No.
Like, as he was going directly for
It's like when a ship is sinking, eh? It's the one where it's like... Burr, 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 burr. Like, you just know it's going... Or the Titanic theme. One or the other. But...
Or, yeah, like that song, like, all around me are familiar faces.
Oh, shit. He smashed down. And I thought he was dead. I thought that the lifeguards on the other side of the pool stood up at the same time. We're like, they know this guy's 70 years fucking old. So they're like, they always, he knows what he's doing. Then to see him slap so hard, he didn't come up for like 10 seconds, dude. It was like, fuck.
Well, I don't know if anybody listening to this podcast has ever, like, done a backflop in a pool. But it hurts like hell. And if you're 70 years old and you have like little bones, you're not as flexible as you used to be. I don't know. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that it hurts like a lot worse.
Well, the thing too is just in general. I remember, and that's part of the story I was actually gonna get to. But before we do, I just realized I didn't even say the intro properly. I was supposed to say, welcome to your soup of the day, your source for 100% natural ingredients, and I didn't say it, but now I said it, so it's taken care of. I also wanted to talk about our horse games anyways, because there was some shit done that, like, I remember we tried to do a full front flip into a dive so many times that it would start to hurt. You remember that, like a full front flip into the dive, then you finally got it down.
Oh, I eventually got it, yeah.
But I tried it one time, and like the last time I ever tried, I remember very specifically because I landed as flat as possible, as like I was symmetrical to the water when I hit, and it slapped every piece of me, my arms, my legs, my everywhere, and it was I never did it again after that. And but you used to do gainers off of the high dive, and I've never done a backflip in my life. I can't do it. My body won't let me. So I'm impressed that you can accomplish a full gainer off a high dive. Oh, yeah. I almost feel like to do a gainer, though, you kind of have to do it on the high dive, because I could just imagine you bouncing, but, and then you pull a fucking Kyle, and that's where I was going with this, is that one of my favorite stories from the Seps is that, so Mr. Miyagi, Kyle was trying to do the same thing, like the 3-step and the going, instead of like, I think I would try and go for distance, and Kyle was going for height.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to cut you off.
Please
for a
do,
second.
please do.
So basically, this 70-year-old guy, he used to be like a competitive diver, and he says to my brother, who's trying to learn how to dive, the closer you go to the board in professional diving, I guess the better. Like, keep yourself right tight and close to the board, and you'll get more points or whatever bullshit, even though we weren't doing it for points. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It was the closer the better.
And I just he didn't even try to get distance, and that's the part that fucked him. Is that I watched it because I was I was out of the pool. I can't even tell the fucking story without laughing. I can't. I just can't do it. But I was out of the pool walking towards the back, so I was up, and you were in the fucking water, and he jumps up, and he goes directly up. Like, I'm talking, like, it almost looked like he didn't go forward at all, and he got some good height. But he came down, and I swear to God, I thought, originally what I thought, all I hear is, BAM! And I thought he fucking smoked his head on the diving board. And I just remember you and I, at that exact moment, we looked at each other. And I looked at you down in the water, you looked up at me, and we just thought, did he just die? Because, and then it turns out what actually fucking happened is he got so damn close. This loud fucking bang was the top of his foot hitting the diving board. And it was so loud. The lifeguards get up too, and they're about to jump in, and Kyle comes up. He says a typical Kyle line. What's that?
He got some air.
Oh, he was high.
He was up there.
He was high. And he comes up, and typical Kyle goes, ow! So, anyways, that was just... And then I never forget Booba, because the guy couldn't dive. He would run off the diving board or belly flop.
He looked like a Chinook salmon going up like a river, trying to jump up a waterfall. That's what his diving looked like.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that, just to show some good times there, I also want to talk about another story, it shouldn't embarrass you, because I'm sure you have plenty of me, and we don't have to get too deep into this, but my birthday. I want to talk about my birthday, Adam.
Say that again.
What?
Say that again?
I want to talk about my birthday.
Okay.
And the thing I want to talk about my birthday is the time that you got super smashed. Like, you were...
Oh, yeah.
You were Super Smash Brothers level, is how smashed you were, bro. You were done.
Well, don't remind me.
Yeah, and I want to get to... And the funny thing is that this is my birthday, and I gave myself the best birthday present I think I could have ever given myself, and that was getting Adam Blitz out of his mind. And he was... So basically, I'm pretty sure that was the night you had already had like 8 shots of tequila or whatever the hell it was you had before.
I was set for the night before I got to the club.
He was feeling pretty good, but my birthday present to myself was just fucking him up, because what I did was we went to a club called Bombers, which I don't think exists anymore. Yeah, okay.
No, it's long gone now.
So that's gone. But it was what? It was like 3 Jaegers for 9? Was that what it was? 4 for something crazy.
It was like 4 for $8 or $9.
Yeah.
It was pretty solid deal.
For Jaeger, Jaeger bombs. It was, man, it was great. So I had a shit ton and like 3 beer at the first club. And Adam, I made him have 1 Jaeger bomb at first. Anyways, the point is that we went to the other club, which was the main one we were going to, which is also not the same club anymore, I don't think.
Nope.
So, what's that?
It's a hurting scene out here.
Oh, clearly, I can tell.
Everything's going out of business.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, but oh
East Coast, buddy. Well, yeah, it's just I don't know. I think when we got to Cosmo, I don't say I by no means did I go too far. I fucking thought it was amazing. I fed him Jägerbomb and then Jägerbomb and then Jägerbomb and then Jägerbomb, and I was having beer the whole time as well. And then the last one I did, I was like, I think I had 2 and 2 because no one else wanted one. He's like, I can't. I'm like, I paid for them. Like, you have to drink them now. I paid for these. And that was the last straw. He was done. He was not having a good night.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd also like to point out the fact that not only, like, that was, like, all the stars aligned that night because not only were you down from Toronto, but Thomas was back and Alex was back.
Yep.
And all the shit that you were buying me, times that by 3 because Alex and Thomas were also buying me drinks.
Yep.
And I was buying around here and there, so I'm surprised I didn't end up in the friggin' hospital.
I swear to God, like, the funny thing is, too, is I just remember when you got home, you were fucked, man. Because I came and crashed at your place that night. And we got back, and you were gone, man. You couldn't even walk down the fucking stairs.
Oh, I was messed up, man. I was like, we were in the cab home, and I was like, all right, you have to pull over right now.
Oh, no. I remember. That was a different night. That was the night we were at Paul's, remember?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was the night, because we...
I get sick a lot, apparently.
Well, no, it's not that. I'm telling you, man. That's the funny thing is I can only tell you 2 stories where you've gotten sick drunk that I remember, and it was these 2. And that's why I was gonna say Paul's was funny because I know what happened. You didn't drink too much, and I never, like, we never had this conversation, but that was the night that we were in the cab, and Kyle was so okay. Kyle is. Oh, by the way, I don't know if we mentioned it, but is Adam's brother. Did you say that earlier?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, Kyle, the guy with the diving board fuck up, is Adam's older brother, and he's got a phobia of vomit, like not like a natural sense where it's just like gross. Like he's got a phobia of vomit, I think, and when you puked, and you did it good, like you did the right way, like you said you got to pull over, which actually more came out, and then Kyle got pissed off and looked at you and went, is he gonna puke? No, he looked at me. That's what he said. Is he gonna puke? Like right serious and pissed off. I was like, I think so. He's good. And the cab driver was cool. He was nice. He pulled over and he threw up. Kyle was pissed. He went to bed and never spoke to us the rest of the night.
Yeah,
but
that sounds about right from what I remember.
Yeah. Well, the thing that fucked you up, and this is what I wanted to tell you, is you remember that we had the hookah. Remember the hookah? That gives you a mad head rush. That's the point of it. It's not like you're not stoned. It's just like it gives you a really amazing head rush sort of thing. And that mixed with being too drunk is what fucked you because you got dizzy. And then once you're sick, you're done for the night. Like once you puke, most people are kind of done. You know what I mean? Like that's game over for the night.
Yeah, I don't know many people that like puke, wipe their mouth, and go, "All right, let's go drink a couple more beers."
Yeah, all you gotta do is ask my aunt that about my birthday, my 19th birthday. That was me. They fed me more, man. Trust me, I feel your pain. That's why you know what? I've experienced the same thing I did to you, so I can't feel too bad. Because the thing is my 19th birthday party, I was done puking, and they were feeding me beer. There you go. This will make you feel better, and it did.
Oh, this will wash it down.
Yeah, this will wash down that foul taste in your mouth, but. Anyways, those are some good stories, and I'm glad we talked about those. But I do want to get to the main topic of this podcast for us, which is something that we both kind of had a connection with for a long time. Music, just to put it bluntly. Both of us have always been music in every sense of the word fans. You know, I mean, like we appreciate all music for what it is. You know, the same way I find, and that's something I think a lot of people lack these days. And I think you know what I mean. It's like.
Oh, yeah.
I find these days it's more about you have to pick this or that. If you like country, like rap is stupid. It's like why? You know what I mean? Like you can appreciate every type of music for the genre that it is. You don't base it all in one big bundle. You know, am I wrong, or what do you think? Like, I could be wrong on this.
Well, I think the cool, interesting thing about music is that it's probably one of the most subjective. I mean, this is just my opinion.
Well, yeah.
Subjective opinion, but it's the most subjective art form. Like, it's very rare that you have two people ever that like the same types of music, same bands.
Well, you'll have similarities, but never. I know what you mean. It will never be like identical. Like, oh, we like everything the same because you. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, and like for myself, like I've never been a huge country kind of fan, but I appreciate good country music that had thought put into it.
Yeah, like unless it's let's grab a beer. Let's grab a beer. Sad songs, just the basic typical formula for a country song, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend too many people, but basically, I'm going to leave it at that. Any of the stuff that's uninspired and like recipe, it doesn't matter on the genre.
No, exactly.
Like I can't stand certain. Like my favorite genre would have to be rock, and there's rock artists that I just can't stand because you can tell it's recipe, and they're like, oh, well, this sounds like a rock song.
Those recipe cookie cutter ones, unfortunately, too, are the ones that usually end up becoming the face of the genre, which is kind of shitty. You know what I mean? Like you have, I think you have two real figures of it. You have the figures of any genre. Let's use rock for example, like the bands that are kind of what's seen as like people that don't like it, or like, oh, bands like this, I don't like that, I don't like that. But you don't realize there's so many more bands that have different styles of this genre that you could like something out of that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and then you also have the figureheads that are actually the best bands of all time that, not a lot of people really even listen to, because it's all, like you said, it's all subjective. It's all about you, what you prefer, and everyone has something in music they can find in that.
Yeah, and I find a lot of times, pretty much, I would have to say everybody's kind of guilty of this, but like, there's always that person that's quick to say, oh, this artist, they're shit.
Oh,
I mean, I guess that's your opinion.
Yeah, but it's a shitty opinion, to be honest. Like, you can't just say anybody is shitty. Like, you can't just say an artist sucks, because here's the fact. Even if they don't have an immense amount of talent per se, like I don't like to say it like that, but if they're still famous, they've obviously been doing something right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just,
like, a lot of people, number one, I guess, would be like Nickelback. Like, a lot of people hate on them, but I mean, I guess it works. Maybe the hate is what gets them so.
Well, it really is. That's the funny part.
They have some solid music, but people are quick to like shit on them.
Well, it's a fad kind of thing. And I will admit, like, if you want to talk cookie cutter, like we were just talking, that's Like, if you look up a definition, it's Nickelback, because that they have some cool songs that, like, for example, like, I think when we were on the canoe trip, we were listening to one of their albums just because it was ironic at first, and then it just kind of fit the mood. Like, it's about drinking and smoking and just, whatever. And it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, this fits the mood. And that's what music is that it's not one thing. It's something that sets a mood. It's something you can listen to in a certain emotion. It's something that you can just listen to for fun. It's something that people put on the background of stores, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? It's always relevant somewhere in our lives, and that's why I think music is really just generally the most universal language of them all.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, and like, just like you say, as far as like universal language, I mean, look at any big artist. I'm just gonna throw one out there, Ed Sheeran, or go back as far as like Led Zeppelin. These bands would go all around the world, and even if you don't speak English, people still love the music. Yeah,
no, absolutely, for sure. And that's what I was actually about to bring up too, is that I find the best way to put it, in my opinion at least, is just that it literally bridges cultures, I find. And some people see that as a bad thing, and some people, I think it's awesome. I love what it does, because there's types of music that people love. Let's say right here in Canada, there's types of music that people love that don't even realize that this is from, you know, this country, or this is where this came from, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's just, there's so much into it that, like you said, people are just too quick to judge sometimes and just be like, eh. But there's a lot of, I think to write any music, any good music, I'll say, to write any good music and good songs, you need to have passion in it. You know what I mean? Like, you really need to believe what you're writing, I find.
Oh, 100%.
And that's...
And you could tell the people that just write a song.
The most pop stars today. It's like, I'm sorry, but like, when you make a song that, like, I don't know. I don't want to mention any songs in particular, because same thing. Like, I don't want to piss people off and say that their opinion's not valid, because that's just what this is. This is our opinion. You know, we're not saying any other opinion's not correct. It's just, this is what we're thinking about it. And I mean, look at. Okay, here's the perfect example that I think is actually kind of relevant as well. Despacito, whatever the fuck. When it was its own song, and it, you know, when it was just a Spanish song, and it wasn't that popular, it was just a cool song. That was when it was, you know, what it was supposed to be about. And then the Bieber remix came in, and now I'm not even joking. I have a radio. I hate the radio, dude. Like, do you listen to the radio ever?
I started buying, for the longest time, I thought, you know, CDs are out of style.
Oh, hell no, dude. I still buy CDs.
I have, like, a ton of CDs in my car now, and because I just personally find when you listen to the radio, you know, even if I listen to, like, my favorite channels that is, like, rock music, classic rock, they never play any of the stuff that's, like, really good, but, like,
yeah,
not like, as mainstream. I don't know, like you get a lot of this Copperhead Road kind of crap that's like overplayed in the bars and everything playing on the radio. So the minute that comes on, it's like CD time.
Yeah, no, and well, it's just, I think the problem was with the Despacito track is that now all of a sudden you got Bieber on there, and then it's literally, I counted when I was at work, and I work an 8-hour shift. And I'm not over exaggerating. They played it 2 times an hour. There was 16 times, and it was like clockwork. Almost every time, same time every day. It was Despacito, that many times a day. And now it's The River by Eminem and Ed Sheeran. That's the only song I ever fucking hear ever anymore.
Yeah, and I'm so out of the loop when it comes to pop music now, because I find, again, this is just my opinion. Yep. People will probably hate me for it, but
that's the point of this podcast, bro. We make people hate us. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
that's how we get viewers.
Maybe you're the same way. Maybe you're totally different, but I find pretty much all pop music now is throwaway music. Like, it's great. It's great the first few times you hear it, or for like maximum a year. Like, well, that's being like very, very generously is like a year it's popular, and then you don't even think about those songs. Whereas like Michael Jackson, you know, I'm not hating on pop music, but Michael Jackson, he's a pop artist, and people still like, oh hey, remember Thriller, or remember like Beat It?
Yeah, that's right. Who says who's?
I don't think in 30 years you're gonna hear people say, oh, remember One Time by the Beat? I don't think you're going to hear that.
No, you know what? That's a very fair point, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, just in the sense that I don't think all pop music is throwaway music anymore, because, I mean, you got to look at the genre. The genre is so big in pop, because you can take any type of music and really make a pop element for it. But I think the music that's overplayed, it's not the artist's fault. It's these companies that are producing the track that want it out there as many times, played on the radio as many times as possible, you know. But like Ed Sheeran, for example, is a pop artist, but he has pop, folk pop, you know, even country style, and then he's got his real pop, and you know, he's got such a. I listen to all of his albums, which I have, and other stuff behind it too. It's just all his shit is different, and the pop songs that you hear on the radio that become popular are the ones that eventually you're right, I start to lose that interest in it. But it's the stuff that it's on, like all Drake, like I'm a huge Drake fan. I'm not afraid to admit that. All Drake stuff, like his poppy songs, I don't listen to anymore. It's the ones on his album that were kind of hidden that you have to find that I like more anyway. And those are the ones that stick around, you know what I mean?
I see where you're getting at too. Like, you know, Ed Sheeran, he is definitely a great musician, great voice, and he makes good music. There's no way for me to look into the future as to like how long his music will be remembered, but just based on his music in the past, I don't know, 3-4 years, how often do you hear people talking about the song like you know, like Lego House?
You know what though? But here's the thing about that, and this is the important part. Not to cut you off, but this is where I find the most important part lies. Is that the difference? You're right. We don't know. He could be, but we don't know where. Like nobody could ever remember him. You know, 30 years down the road. But his music is very personal music, and the people that listen to his music, all the albums, and not just for Ed Sheeran, for anybody. I'm talking, you know, like the really big ones. They have at least I can't say all of them, but anyways, people like Ed Sheeran, he has this connection with his fans that his music is his music, you know, at the root of it all, it's the music that matters. And his music, his writing is very well done. And he has that connection now with his fans that at least those fans are going to have that memory for as long. And that's what I think music, where it all kind of comes together.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you follow, because I feel like it was swept under the rug.
What's
but
that?
There was a Ed Sheeran song where he co-wrote a song with some country people, some country artists.
Okay.
And basically, if you listen, I'm looking at it right here. He co-wrote a song with Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Basically, the song was almost a complete melody, chord progression. The lyrics were different, but the melody and the chord progression were a complete ripoff, like 100%. If you listen to the two songs side by side, like the original and then the Ed Sheeran / Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, you're like, oh my god, like how did they miss that? How did you?
Well, it's true.
Did they forget something so?
But look at okay, and I feel there's a very thin rather line between inspiration and ripping off, because the thing is that there's almost nothing in this world anymore is going to be original. It's just that simple. And if you take inspiration, or you take, like, for example, there's a Drake song that I was just listening to. It's called Teenage Fever. I fucking love the song. And it just always sounded familiar to me. And Nat was just telling me a few minutes ago that it's actually, like, the chorus part is an old song that, you know, used to be very, very popular. I was like, holy shit. And that's the thing. It's just like, it's okay to take that kind of stuff and get that inspiration from it, I find. And I'm kind of glad we're having this debate about it. It's not really a debate, but, you know, conversation about it, because it's cool to see both sides of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm cool with that, and like that's one thing that I feel like is it's definitely embedded in a lot of R&B kind of rap music, is, like you said, inspiration. Like, it's one thing to take a song that's already been done and use it almost like as your chorus, but people know that was your intention.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of the term that they use, sampling. Yeah, they call it sampling.
Sampling, yeah, that's exactly what it's called.
You literally take it and you just put rap over it, and I feel like that's a different style in and of its own.
Absolutely,
I mean,
for sure, yeah.
Whether you like that or not, it works.
Yep.
But it's different when you come to, let's say I write a song today and it were to blow up and be famous, you know, or even semi-famous.
Yeah.
And then within a couple months or years, somebody comes and basically rips that song off, but not with the intention of doing so. But like it's so close of a song that it's like, how the hell did you miss that?
Yeah.
It's almost like you gotta give your head a shake a bit.
You know what? I can agree to that. That's fair. I think I don't. It's one of those things that I feel everyone is gonna have that kind of moment where you just don't really. I mean, I guess if it's really, really like almost identical, it's kind of harder to say this, but it's just one of those things where you're gonna kind of not think about it. Like I've done it before many times myself, just like picking up my guitar and strumming away. That I'm like, oh, this sounds really good. Nope, that's actually like Uptown Funk. Okay, cool. No, can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And I think most musicians have been there. Like I've done that where I'm like, oh my god, that sounds really good. And then I listen to myself, like I'll record it and then I'll listen to it a few times. I'm like, that is literally this song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Too bad I didn't have the talent to write that on my own.
Well, it's just so easy.
It's already somebody else's song.
It's just because it's already in your head, and once you pick it up, because that happened to me with The Funeral. I don't know if you know that song. It's like, it's called The Funeral by Band of Horses. You know that one?
No, and like I've probably heard it, but
Yeah, I don't even want to risk singing it and getting a copyright strike, so we're not gonna do that. But point being, I just started picking away, and it sounded really cool, and I'm like, I know this song. But and that's the thing, is that if you're not picking up on it, then you're kind of screwed, especially in the music industry, because then you get accused of a whole bunch of shit. So
exactly.
well,
I find ultimately, again, so people will probably argue with me on this one, but if you look at bands that are world famous,
Yeah.
or even musicians, just solo artists or bands that are like on a worldwide scale, top of the line, everybody knows your name kind of artists, I find typically, at least in the past, it's been people who are completely innovative and they're unique, where some people listen to them and go, wow, I've never heard this before. That's really cool. It's a different style.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that's we're kind of losing sight of that. Like, there are still some artists now that have...
But that brings me to the question to you, though. That brings me to a question for you in particular, is because and this is where the subjectiveness comes in, or the objectiveness, I should say, I think, in this one, because you say, for example, and this isn't like an attack, like I'm just, like, you say that we don't have that music anymore, in the sense of that, individualistic attitude and that real innovative style that changes the genre. But is rock the only music that has done that for you, at least? Maybe not in general, but to you, is that the only music that really holds on to that innovativeness and still sticks true to this day?
No, not at all. I mean, like, personally, I think, so like I'll go from the past to the present. So if you're talking rock, yeah, I mean, I don't even have to name any names. Everybody knows the big rock groups that are even still around to this day. U2, Kiss. People hate on U2, but whatever. But they're like the big...
I don't hate on U2. I like U2.
That did... Yeah, and like they did something out of the ordinary, something different that people weren't used to. Whether it's dressing up with like clowns with black and white and wearing spikes like Kiss, or if you go like Michael Jackson, totally different genre, where he was the first guy to do like the moonwalk, or maybe I'm wrong, but I think he was the first guy to do the moonwalk, and just the way he moved around on stage and his style of music was totally different for that time. It was like out of the ordinary. If you fast forward to like nowadays, I can maybe name 3 or 4 like very innovative artists. Like, people hate him, but I'd say Kanye is fairly
his stuff is always fresh, dude. It's always fresh, and that's one thing I'll give him credit for, is regardless of personality here, man, his music is always good, but it's also always different, and that's one thing I love about Kanye.
Exactly, and even if the funny thing about him too is, even if the song is like, well, I mean, there's like one song, I'm not even going to name the song, that I find that sounds bad. It was so popular because it was different. But artist.
Wait, why aren't you naming the song here? What's going on? Why are we naming it?
Well, I'm trying to think of the name of the song. It's where in the music video he's on like a motorcycle with Kim.
Oh, yeah.
And I personally think it's just a bad song. Like the instrumentals and everything are just out to lunch. But
Out to lunch.
Yeah. But a lot of people like it, so I can respect that. It's
Bound.
I look at it as like, you know what? Maybe I find it sounds bad, but I see what he did. Like it's totally different, and some people like that.
Yeah, I'm listening to it right now, and I know exactly the song. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that were, right? But again, I can't name a bunch of artists that did anything different. Like Justin Bieber, One Direction, you know, they blew up and they got like world famous.
Yeah.
For what reason? Based on
God
looks,
only knows.
obviously.
Yeah.
It was just based on looks. They have the talents there too, but they didn't do anything out of the usual. There's nothing different about it. They didn't. Let's say they weren't good looking, they wouldn't stand out as a boy band.
But you kind of have to be there at some point, you know. And that's the funny thing is that you kind of have to put up with that shit. Because, like, look at One Direction now, is that they've all kind of gone there, and they're all so fucking different, man. If you listen to any of their music individually, like, it's all their stuff sounds completely different from each other. So you can tell that they just kind of had to put up with the shit. They probably signed a nice contract, and now they got where they want to be, and they're making their own music, and, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So.
But the music industry, and I'm no expert on the music industry, but...
healthy. You know a healthy amount.
Yeah, like the big record labels and the big producers, they basically know what people want, I guess, and they do tend to take advantage, I would say, of their artists, and they have a lot of say in what kind of music they make and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that, even with like Guns N' Roses and Nirvana, like, you know, those are the bands that, like Nirvana especially, like they were the ones that would like rebel and they'd say like this is bullshit, like we want to write our own music. But it's still like that, and they definitely take advantage of it. I think that's why boy bands do so well, because they have the money to promote them.
It's all about kids, man. As if you promote towards kids, then it's one of two things you can promote to. You can either promote towards kids or you can promote towards sex, and both those things sell like hotcakes in any kind of music industry. And that's just how it is because of the fan base that comes along with it. Because kids, it's all about money, right? If you get kids on your side, mommy, I want this CD, I want to go see Hannah Montana in theaters, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, like that's where you take advantage of that, versus where if you're selling sex, it's more you want to be that person, so you admire them kind of thing, right? And most rock bands sold with sex. A lot of them, you know, that kind of lifestyle, like smoke, drink, and fuck, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So.
And it's changed since then. Like, for all we know, behind the scenes of some of these rock bands that appeared to be drug users and all this stuff, like, you know, back in the day, that's probably the only stuff that they promoted.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these bands might have actually been professional guys, whereas nowadays it's not as there's almost this expectation for people in the rock industry to actually be very professional, which is, it seems counterintuitive to the genre itself. It's like,
it does actually, yeah. It's kind of an oxymoron at that point.
Well, yeah, you have people like, again, Justin Bieber, where they're promoting this whole bad boy image, and
it's stupid, man. No, I was never about that. Like that's the thing. You know what the ironic part about when it comes to Drake, and it's not really the same now. Now it's more about just his music, but that's kind of that was the funny part, and that's what drew me into Drake originally was. Oh, I'm kind of getting a bad feedback here. Hold on one sec. All right, I just put this on pause for a sec. I just got a bad feedback there. Going again. It's just Drake's stuff was always very. He was the nice guy rapper, and there's memes about it, right? So that was kind of the selling point for that. So I don't know, but
yeah, and the thing about Drake too is I was never a huge rap fan, but like I definitely have rap artists that I like and listen to. But I found when Drake came on the scene, that's probably what made him, like, for a while he was number one in the world as far as just musicians and artists.
Oh, he still is there, man. That's the thing too. He's taken over the world.
Due to the fact that he did something totally different. Like his rap was very mellow, but
it was R&B mixed with rap.
It had a way to make people also want to dance. Like, you know, he had this, like, one dance and
great
those
song.
Kind of songs where I don't find a lot of rappers do that. Like now you get to those mumble rap.
Like yeah, like well,
he made rap like elegant almost instead of hardcore trap style music, which is different.
Well, Childish Gambino, man, I'm telling you, that's Childish Gambino. Anytime anyone ever asks me who my favorite rapper is, I will tell you Childish Gambino. He is phenomenal. He's got some great shit, and I get to go see him in concert in September, so I'm stoked about that one.
Oh, jeez, lucky.
I know, right? So, I do want to bring up one last thing before we get going here, man, and that's just the fact of we kind of touched on it earlier, you're a musician yourself.
Yeah.
And there's just a couple quick questions I have for that. And the first one is, because I'm a musician myself, you know that, but I think really technically speaking, like starting from picking up a guitar, trying to learn it, I think I had started before you. And then we got to the same level for a long time, and then now all of a sudden you just fucking flew past me. Like you're just doing things in guitar that I just can't really understand. And I guess it's just the difference of music, right? Because it's like you're into the rock side, whereas I'm into like the acoustic side. I like to play an acoustic guitar is what my thing is, right? But and that's kind of what a big question I have as for you who now you're going into your second, hopefully going into your second band. You know, making that a thing, getting some gigs going on. With that, do you find going to a new band, has your music changed at all? Do you feel like going to a new band you almost have to change your sound up at all, or do you kind of just want to go with what you know?
Well, see, I really like the fact of, or just the idea of doing different, not completely different genres of music, but different styles, because I find for me it helps me with my writing. Like I went from writing my own stuff, which like I don't know if you're gonna play that on any part of your podcast, but it was more very chill alternative style rock.
Which one were you talking?
And then, the Not Good Enough.
Oh, okay. Speaking of which, before we go any further, listen. This is a sample of something. We'll talk about what it is in a second, but this is a sample of some of Adam's music with a good friend of ours. So this is Not Good Enough by Tritonian Oceans. So that right there, who is number one? Who's Tritonian Oceans? So we have a.
Yeah, so that's my buddy Eve Harvey. He's interesting enough. Like you know, he did all that producing and whatnot on his own, and you know, he didn't go to school or anything. He just sat in his room and learned how to do it.
He tweaked it, man.
But yeah, he recently, like, I mean, I personally find he has a talent for what he does, and he recognized that too. So he moved to Vancouver to go to one of Canada's best recording and producing schools, the Nimbus School for Recording.
Yeah.
And I think he definitely has, as long as he follows through, which I know he will, he'll definitely do well in the industry. So I'm glad for him in that sense, because he's definitely good at what he does, and him and I worked on a lot of music together too. a lot of it wasn't like recorded or whatever, but we love to just jam.
Yeah, jamming's the way to go. Anyways, man, you only really record when you get something special out of it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the point. So, but going back to what we were talking about originally, there, just check him out, by the way, SoundCloud.com/Tritonian Ocean. Do you feel the music has had to change at all going into other bands? You were getting into that.
Oh yeah, and it absolutely has. Because like I say, if you listen to that example, it's I took a lot of his influences where he I can't name all of his, but basically it's the sound that you hear in that, as well as the guitar, which is what I'm into, like kind of like the rock kind of style guitar. But then I went from that into like a hard rock band. Where I had to change my vocals to less of a chill style to more hard rock, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath kind of style, and I like doing that. I like getting a different taste of music, and I don't have any issues really doing it. I think I adapt pretty quickly because I listen to a wide range of music, but I highly suggest anybody that's in any specific genre of music to explore the different styles and try writing music, and it'll broaden your portfolio. It'll make you a better artist, I think, overall.
Well, that's what everyone's kind of always wondering, right? That's how do you take that next step? Is kind of everyone's. That's my question right now with this podcast, man. Like, it's always that, because you get. I feel like I feel, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm good at podcasting. I'm good at talking. You know that about me. I can have a conversation with just about anybody, but. It's hard to make that next step. Like, how do I get a job and do it? How do I get paid doing this, something I love? And I feel like podcasting is one thing, but to be a rock band is something completely different, and that's a tall order.
It is, and I mean, I think honestly, like, you just have to, especially if you're somebody that you like music, you just have to try it. And if you're playing the music, I find especially with music, if you don't love the music you're making, then get out of it.
It doesn't make any sense. Style. There's no emotion to it. There's no passion in it, right? So
exactly, and you're just gonna end up digging yourself a hole, and then I guess you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, I've never necessarily succeeded in music yet because it's a hard music scene, and I've been in between bands, but. If you don't love what you're doing, then you're basically going to go nowhere, I think. And I personally, I like everything about the rock genre, and I just love singing and making music in general. So I think no matter what band I'm in, at least so far, I enjoy doing it. I love making the music. Yeah. So I've had no problems so far.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, man, number one, there's two things I need to tell you, actually. The first is that we've been talking for 52 minutes, and I gotta tell you, that's the longest podcast I've ever fucking done in my life. Number one. Number two, you have the honor of having the longest podcast, so there you go. This has been, I think, the most fun podcast I've done so far. It's just been such a natural conversation. I think the first interview with Joe, of course, I love talking to Joe. It's great. I just wasn't comfortable very much myself at that point, but now where I'm at, this conversation was just like a phone call with you, and it went really well. And I think, obviously, sometime in the future, man, I want to get back on here, and we can start getting a little more into specifics, or even talking other things, because I got some topics to bring up with you. So, but I just want to say, number one, again, thank you so much for coming to talk to us, dude. It's been a fucking blast.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I know it's been hard to get for both of us to get the time.
It's hard for everybody, man.
To do this.
Yeah, but it happened.
I'm definitely glad.
Me too, man. It's honestly, it's been a fucking good time. And the thing is, too, when we have a good time, like whoever I'm with, if we're having a good time, and that's all future guests, I want you to know this. If you're ever on this show, don't worry, I got you covered. And like, if you by any point have dead air or you don't know what to say, I'm failing my job, because I'm supposed to keep you going. So don't worry about that awkwardness, anything like that. It's going to be very easy. process, because Adam knows now, because I know what it sounds like going into a podcast, but I'm sure it was kind of a lot different, or maybe it was the same. What do you think? Was it any different at all than what you thought?
Not really.
It's just a conversation, right? Like
it would be different if I didn't know who you were and you were just some random person.
That's true.
It would probably be a little tougher, but
yeah,
that's kind of what made it easier for me. Is I've never had a problem talking to you, because obviously we've been friends for so long and we could talk about whatever basically, and I know you're not going to judge me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Well, the feeling is mostly mutual, but I feel like there's some things that I need to be judged on. I think that's why you're there, is to make sure I have my shit together. But yeah, exactly. So, anyways, man, I'm gonna give you a shout right back here. I'm gonna close off this podcast. All right.
All right, man.
All right, cool. Thanks again, bud.
No worries, man.
All right. Yeah, guys, that was a hell of a conversation. That was a hell of a podcast right there. And if you're stuck through it and you're still listening right now, I gotta say, number one, thank you so much. This was, and I want everyone else to know, I loved all the other podcasts, but this is a growing experience for me. This is a week after week. I'm getting better and better, and I feel like I'm at a comfortable point of hosting now. Hosting is a breeze at this point now, which is good. Now I want to start getting into the editing and and trying to make longer podcasts. I want an hour to kind of be the max, unless we have a special, which there are a couple planned in the future, guys. But yeah, again, this is going to be on YouTube. Let me know if you guys have a preference. Comment down below. Send me a message. Let me know. Anything like that. If you prefer SoundCloud, or you prefer any, actually just tell me any app for uploading that you think is the best. It doesn't matter if it costs money, because I'm going to pick the best one. So that's number one. Next week, I don't really know. The reason it took so long, guys, was the fact that I couldn't upload it, and that sucked. But I'm glad I'm doing 2 this week. I'm doing, you got the one yesterday. Now you're going to get the one, or I guess when this comes out, it'll be the day before yesterday. Either way, I'm glad I got this out, because this is the plan now, guys. Fridays is podcast day. Look forward to that. And I don't know what the plan is for the next episode. I don't know that one. I know I have some ideas. I don't want to kind of say anything, because we're just going to see where it goes. But in particular, there's one more thing you guys need to look out for, is that Sunday night is the release of a brand new podcast. A very good friend of mine, we're going to call her D. D and I have a new podcast on the way, which is called The Reels Talk. And the thing about the show, it's the show where we talk about anything and everything. That's the key. That is the tagline for the show, because we get into some topics. It's not like this, because it's not going to be a different guest every week. It's going to be 2 friends having a conversation every week. And we're both very excited for it. Look for that Sunday, probably in the afternoon. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be playing Would You Rather, drinking game. So that's always going to be fun. And guys, I can't keep saying, I know it's only about 20, 21 of you people out there listening, but those 21, you guys are here for something that I'm very proud of right now, which is this episode. Adam and I had a really great talk, and that's just usually how it goes, guys. And same thing with Joe, and I can't wait to get him back on here now that I'm feeling a little more comfortable with hosting. And it's been a journey, and I was starting to hit a wall with the editing and stuff like that, being like, this is so tedious, but you know what? Now that I'm doing a little more with it, it's going to be a lot more fun. So, with that being said, guys, we do have a very special outro today. And the outro is Out of My Mind by Adam Firlotte. This is one of his originals that he wrote, produced, and we're going to leave you with this. Beautiful. So, you know what? If you guys have your own opinions on the music industry, give me a shout, let me know, and we can talk about them. We can talk about them on the air, we can talk about them with Adam, we can do whatever you want to do. Just hit me up. I'm always going to try to respond to every message I ever get, even if I've got thousands. That's my goal. So guys, thank you so much again. Please listen in Sunday for the Reels Talk. It's going to be a good time. And go check out the Hippie Hideout. My boy Brandon D is going to hook you up with some beautiful wear. I'm telling you. It's just, his ice dyes are phenomenal. That is etsy.com/shop/thehippiehideout. Check it out, guys. Thank you so much once again. Out of my head, Adam Firlotte.